Okay, we've got our closed guard material to go over from this past Monday. Let me get the footage pulled up. We'll get going. All right, me and Big John. Heavy on the collar ties early on, trying to keep him off balance, trying to make him think twice about shooting on me. What's up, Emery? How you doing, bud? Oh yeah, Caleb and Adam. I didn't realize they were training. Maybe I didn't notice them because I was trying to deal with John here. Okay, so Adam starts at close guard. Cool. Doing great. Doing great. Okay. They're going over some armbar stuff. So got to be careful here with wrapping up the leg. I think what John is doing here is okay. Like how he was going around the outside. That's not going to let me trap his leg. If he went on the inside and kind of like underhooked my leg, that would be a little bit more risky. Actually, a lot more risky, as I could take his back and then trap his arm when I'm on his back. We got Nick and Emre looking to take it to the ground, maybe. Good escape from John. Good awareness. I didn't have control over his hips with any hooks, so he was able to move. So, all right, well, wait. Let's see what happened there. Does Nick go for the takedown? Okay, kind of. A little merciful with it. Oh, man, you could call us by our names. You could call us any name you want, to be honest. May not respond, but no, I'm not particular about being called coach or professor or anything. If you do, I appreciate it, but it doesn't make a difference to me. I still get my ass beat regardless. I was gonna say though, Emery, and you're gonna have all the time in the world to work on this as long as you're training. When you're tied up with somebody, like you've got a really strong upper body connection. Yeah, Ronnie's not wrong. Strong upper body connection here with your opponent, but you're kind of static, right? Like if I just play for a couple seconds, not much movement, and this is all giving Nick time to plan his attack, right? And I say that specifically because you probably don't have like many stand-up attacks in your arsenal yet, which is fine. That comes with experience. But anytime you're staying still like this, that's giving your opponent an opportunity to pull the trigger first, which he kind of does here. He doesn't really commit too hard to it, which is, that's good. He got you a little off balance. But think about that. As you make these connections, I don't care if you don't have a good idea of what to do next just yet, but if you're going to have underhooks, I want you to start thinking about making your opponent move, right? Using your footwork to pull your opponent, push your opponent, rotate your opponent, get them off balance, get their head behind their feet, get their head way in front of their feet. Start seeing how you get them on their tiptoes or on their heels or on one leg or their legs crossed. Those are where all the opportunities come to put an opponent on the ground. You have to get them off balance. You have to keep them moving. Now's the time for you to just like experiment. Like I'm not even going to necessarily tell you, oh, pull in this direction, do this, move this way. Just grip your opponent and try to move him around and see how he stumbles, see how he steps. And that'll start to inform you, and you'll start to see patterns and be able to do some cool stuff with them later on. So Nick gets behind you, sits, takes you down, and tries to get your back. Looking to set up hooks here. He's got this kind of like reverse hook, this kind of crab hook there. Cole coming in with the coaching. Clutch. John making his way to mount just about. Does he? Yeah, he kind of does. So here, Danny getting to Ronnie's back. So good sweep over, and then notice I'm just looking to capture a leg. Right there, I got the ankle. Next, I get the knee. And then I'm looking to get frames in. Pretty standard stuff. And then a good reroll from John when I thought I had the sweep. Cooper back on the mat over here working with Dylan. I think. Yeah. Thought he was going to make his way to a triangle there. What else we got? Good wrestle up there, kind of sort of from Devin. From this bottom position against Mitchell. He fights for the underhook. You see it right there. Mitchell has gotten a little lazy on winning that underhook battle. Now Devin, look at that foot movement, right? He's pressing off the bottom leg. That gets his hips up. He's gonna knee tap this knee on Mitchell, the left knee, and gets Mitchell over with basically a double, kind of, sort of knee tap double, if you want to call it that. Dude didn't even call in, man. No call, no show. He's we're gonna write him up. He's gonna go on a probationary period, on a performance review plan. Nah, I don't know what Mike's up to today. I just always assume he's working his ass off. Devin now looking for that back take with the gift wrap. He's got that top arm wrapped around Mitchell's own neck, holding it with that wrist grip here. I want to see that left knee of Devin slide up the back. I'd like to see the knee poking out right here. But Mitchell might be holding on with a pretty strong leg grip. It's hard to tell. Mitchell's all bendy. As always, guys, let me know if I'm missing anything in any of the other roles. If you have questions, anything happens to you and you're like, what the hell was that? And I didn't catch it, let me know. Nick and Emery. Nick putting the pendulum sweep to work here. So we went over this in class. Luke taught this. So good thing to remember anytime you're working in close guard, when it comes time for you to execute a move, more often than not, you're going to have to open your legs up so that you can cut an angle, right? So we see Nick here uncross his ankles as he digs on Emery's left leg. He gets a scoop grip on that leg, unlocks his leg there. Look at the angle he pulls. So he's now he's closer to like 45, between 45 and 90 degrees. As opposed to just straight on like he was, where his hips were in alignment. And then he'll swing that leg out. He's kind of already done it. Starting to get Emery off balance. He can sit up and go right into mount. Typical or classic pendulum sweep. And they work on everyone of any size. John did a great job here retaining this back control. Even when I get that top hook out, he immediately started to control my bottom leg with the remaining hook. He was doing really well to prevent me from stepping out of this at all. Ben, if you're watching, I know you and I've talked about this a lot lately, but this is what I'm, a good example of what I'm talking about with make sure your neck is safe and then fight that leg versus leg game to get your hips free. That's what I'm doing with John here. As soon as I feel like he's not strangling me, you can see a lot of hip movement and a lot of stepping on legs to try to get safe or get free. There's a good example of it there. Step the leg down, slip my leg out. How do I counter that if his hand is under my thigh? To be honest, at the time, I didn't notice his hand. How do you counter the pendulum sweep? So if it has gone this far, you're not countering it. You're kind of done. I'm assuming that Nick has done everything right here, where your right arm can no longer base in this direction. He has gotten his angle on you, and he's got you off balance. At that point, you've you've pretty much lost, and your best bet is to start preparing to escape mount before Nick can establish control. If you address it early enough, like let's say you get caught here, right? Your arm is across the body. Nick has, gotten your second arm across the body. Something I'll do in these situations, because I know that Nick's hips have to come out this way, is I actually step this leg up. I'm trying to think. I know I do this for triangles. When I'm caught in triangles, I'll use my knee and slash shin to block their hip from shrimping out to the side. In this case, I don't like, because you have your left arm free. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking I would do in that situation. I would just post my leg outside his hip so that his hip can't shrimp out, and that prevents him from cutting the angle he needs to get to that, right? So normally, or what I'm saying, your knee would be out here blocking him. And then from there, it's hand fight. Try to get your grips back. Try to get your arm back across the body, and continue on. It's a good question, and that could be a tough position to deal with. A lot of times too, like so many moves they start with like hip movement or just like this little bit of hip movement that will get you to an angle that you can work from, right? You're always kind of trying to flank your opponent. You either try to separate their limbs or get them across your body. If you can control your opponent's hips and not let him or her do that, you can really shut down a lot of early stages of attacks. Danny and Ronnie been over there going at it. Ronnie caught in an outside heel hook here, though. I think Danny was a little merciful there, Ronnie. He could have hurt you. Now, I'm on John's back, but I don't have any hooks in, so I'm trying to recover my position. And notice how I do it. I make sure I have that tight upper body grip. I bail on trying to get the hooks in, at least seemingly so. What I'm really trying to do is get John's side, his right side, off the mat. So I'm coming up to this top position, pulling him up off the mat, and then I'm slipping my leg underneath, and then working to get towards my hooks. I don't know if he actually lets me get my hooks in. Okay, kind of. Or that. I feel ya. I need to yell at Danny. We all need to peer pressure Danny into getting a round timer app that is not one background color and corresponds to, when you should work and when you should not work. Green and red. Just bright green and red. I have no idea what the round time is right now, and I don't know why I don't like it. Good standing guard break from John. Let's see it again. That's okay. So I talked about this on Tuesday when I was teaching this move, and I was joking about this as like something I find funny, but like it's an easy thing to fix. When you do a standing guard break, you pop up to your feet, and this is where you stand straight up. You just ignore that you have someone hanging off of you, and your goal is to just stand straight up. Don't ask me about what happens when they grab your ankles or anything like that. I'll talk about that in person, or else I'll go off on a tangent here. Stand straight up. Then you can put your hands on the knees and try to bounce and like, add a little kipping in to like pop their ankles open. Don't kip before you do that. And when I say kip, I mean like think about the bouncing motion that I like to emphasize. It's almost like you're about to jump, but you don't come off the ground. Don't do that when you're still holding onto the biceps like John does here. You're not really going to get the effect of gravity pulling on those ankles. You just kind of look silly for a second. You try to bounce. It doesn't work. You stand up. Then it'll start to work. John now onto a tight side control. Making it miserable. Very nice. Always love getting a roll with Devin. It's ridiculously strong. Looks like Emery finding some sweaty spots on the floor there. Nick on a nice ankle pick, but Danny on a nicer counter. Nick still gets the takedown. Let's see that again. Danny kind of ready for it. He's not that pale. Yeah, this ankle pick seems really nice. There's actually a really great clip of Yoel Romero, I think, doing this in like Pride or Ryzen or some fight a long time ago. He just picks this guy's ankle and basically flips him on the ground. It almost looks the same as when Nick does it, except Danny's ready for it and responds way better than Romero's opponent did. If you're going to ankle pick, generally speaking, let's give this hand a job too. Either control the head or push on the hip. And that way you prevent this, right? Your opponent kind of sprawling, not really sprawling, hunching forward and starting to interrupt what would otherwise have been a nice connection that was made. But Nick responds, trying to put him down. Tried to hop to the side too, but it looked like maybe they stopped so they didn't break me and Devin. You're in trouble. Sophie giving Cooper the business. Baker and Ronnie over there. So, talking through a cutback single for Devin. He had a great connection, but I was just kind of sprawling against him, stalling him out. If you guys find yourselves here, head inside with this really great connection, high up at the hip. I want your head pushing through the hips and your arms pulling forward here. That's what Devin does to put me down. And watch the result. I'm not flopping. It's really simple leverage. Nick with the overtie and the wrist grip. Coop's takedown. Coop got a takedown? What did Coop do? Get over here. Oh, wait. Well, Coop got taken down. What's up, Ben? Did he have a takedown earlier? Or is it coming? Sophie gets there. Lost my place because Danny's round timer sucks. There we go. Close enough. Okay, that was it. So Sophie's takedown. That was good. She's a killer wrestler. I'm excited for her to start building her jiu-jitsu vocabulary. Nice transition from Nick. Got you. So Nick on this double wrist grip. Danny loves to do this. He likes to use that knee to either break grips or in this case create space. Nick says, yeah, sure. I'll take that. 2-on-1 on that leg. Tries to step it. Well, does step it to the outside. Danny concedes the takedown. Nick looking to pass with the threat of a Kimura. Speaking of Kimura threat, I think that's what we got going on here. And Sophie looking to play up the middle, or she was. There we go. Leg up the middle, getting Cooper flattened out. But Cooper responds well. Gets Sophie off balance. Men's League Soccer. Damn, bro. How many sports you do? All right, bro. You take it easy, have fun. We'll be ready for you. Come tap us out. Take it easy, man. And thanks for tuning in. Nice sweep from Danny. Catching Nick off guard here. Nick had a good idea. I like how he tries to switch around the knee shield. I love doing that myself. But Danny's ready for it and just kind of barrels through him. Gets his knees in nice and tight so that his leg, well, tried to not get his leg trapped, but just the one. Can Nick respond? No. He cannot. Just a little backwards trip against Devin here. Yeah, nothing too special. Cooper trying to pass the guard here. Sophie putting up a fight, but Cooper's looking like maybe... Okay, I thought maybe Darce. Sophie's... It's hard to tell if she's in a bad spot or not with the connections that she makes. Danny into cross Ashi. Looking dangerous. Goes to triangle his legs. He's got that second leg under control. Just has to start isolating now. Looks like maybe trying to pass that leg over. I think he got the heel exposure. Yeah, looks like right there he gets it. Okay, he got there from a backstep. Danny's been loving himself a backstep. Nick, I like your upper body, the brief upper body connection you had there to kind of make Danny think twice about it. You could hit Darce's from there. It's one of the most morally degrading things you can do to the guy attacking your legs. Ask me how I know. Devin chasing down a great double leg there, making me look stupid. Let's see this again. Goes low, finds my leg. Nowhere to go but down. Now that was a really great takedown from him. I love how he chased it all the way through, but right about here I could hear his breathing really picking up, and I could tell that takedown probably took a lot out of him. So he's, you know, if we think about this in terms of competition, this is a great time for me to start working towards a counter, right? Get my opponent while he's trying to catch his breath. You know, we settle into closed guard. That's a great stalling position for actually for either opponent. The guy on top just kind of has to stay safe. The guy on bottom, if he's tired, he can stay there as long as he wants. But it was on me to progress that and take advantage of Devin's exhaustion, let's call it. Worked my way from a shoulder crunch towards a pendulum sweep. With this underhook and this grip on this arm, I'm waiting for him to slip his right arm in front of my body. As soon as he does, I got everything I need for that pendulum. He doesn't have a base. You guys notice, I had to correct this with a few groups. The pendulum is already loaded up here. You don't swing your leg and swing it back and then swing it again. It's already loaded. You just uncross your legs and kick it out. There's the kick. There. And it's over. Nick looks like he's looking for his own cross Ashi now. He's got the leg lock. He just needs to get Danny off balance, which is easier said than done. Nice leg pummeling from Danny to get safe. Danny realizes his shitty round timer isn't on. Leaving Nick to lay on the mat alone. I felt Devin start working that triangle escape. I got the tap before he could finish it, but I wanted him to go back and work on it. Mitchell looking to control Bin. Ooh, switching up to a Katagatame threat here. Bin lays him down. Very nice. Very nice. What's up, John? Back on the mats with Cooper. So after hearing about Peters getting his foot crunched up a little bit with a takedown from a similar position, this rear body lock position, I was a little hesitant to use the same takedown that Luke used against him. Not to call out Luke or anything. So Coop takes advantage of my hesitance and squares back up and gets me down. All right, Ben and Sophie. Are you serious? Let's see if let's see how. Oh, that was such a safe. That was the friendliest, safest takedown I've seen in a long time from Dev. From anybody, but Devin pulls it off here from the exact position. Nice, just hanging on Ronnie's hips with his weight sagging down to the mat, getting the takedown. That is what good, safe training looks like. That makes me super happy. I'm not gonna do it, but it's good to see you guys doing it. Trying to Darce Cooper here, just because. Actually, did he Darce me yet? Somebody. Oh, maybe that was Max. I think Max Darced me. The same. Or was that yesterday? I don't know. Every day just bleeds into the next for me. Yeah, Devin's a sweetie pie. This is annoying. Yeah, so that takedown, the takedown that we're talking about, it's called a rear Tai Otoshi, and it's not in general a very dangerous takedown, I think, but I think when you force it or when you don't set it up properly, that's where the danger comes in. Where are we? We've got 15:22 in, so let's just talk about it for a second, because it's not a takedown that I think needs to be banned from like the gym or anything, but the setup is important. So when you get behind your opponent, like right now, Ronnie's walking forward. If Devin hits the move, and the move is kicking this leg forward, basically turning almost, 180 degrees and pulling Ronnie over that left leg, stepping that left leg across and behind Ronnie, and then tripping her over it. If Ronnie's moving forward, to do that move, you're going to have to yank her backward, which is going to like load her feet up. Her hips are going to be, pretty much over her feet rather than behind her feet. And it's just going to take like a bit more mechanical leverage to get the move. If you can trick your opponent into pushing back towards you, then that's a great time to hit the move. You just essentially pull them backwards. They're already leaning backwards, and you make them fall over your leg. So it's a safer setup than like thinking I am only going to hit this move no matter what my opponent is doing, moving forward, backwards, not moving to the side. So use the move, just set it up correctly. Could the same be said for other dangerous moves like scissor takedown or whatever? Maybe, but I think the incidence rate of problems with moves like that is a little too high. I've seen that rear tai otoshi used so many times. The current rash of owies that has happened with it, I'm not convinced yet that that's a move that needs to be banned. So just work on the setup, get it right, don't hurt each other. For accepting defeat during training, girl, preach, absolutely. It's tough though, Ronnie, that because there's a fine line there. I mean, like you watch, you watch Mike and I train, and that line is extremely thin and barely visible, especially on 720p Twitch stream. But that comes with a lot of experience, and it's hard to convince people who want to like test themselves and do hard stuff and all that, who come in with a little meatheadedness maybe to like concede position. That's coming from someone who has a lot of experience, talking about you, and little to no ego to just be like, oops, I guess I'm getting taken down. Whereas someone might think about it as, well, I want to work my takedown defense, or this person weighs less than me, they shouldn't be able to take me down. That's a tough thing to convince people to adopt when they haven't adopted it yet. Yeah, totally. But that purely comes from the fact that you are experienced, I know I'm preaching to the choir right now, but there are viewers who aren't choir members. Sophie looking sharp with this little leg switch. So she works a standing guard break, then puts her down, switches over to cross ashi. That's what I'm talking about. Very good. Then pummels out. Looks like she's getting acquainted with the positions. John, meanwhile, fighting off Danny. What's up, Max? How you doing, buddy? Let's see. Did I get to this? This is from mount. Okay. So from mount, switching up to an armbar on Coop, switching into Danny smokes me every time. Yeah, I mean, Danny's a monster. Yeah, my rolls with Danny are highly competitive these days. He doesn't give anything away for free. But one thing Danny does really well, that I think all of our upper belts do well, is he'll kind of alternate between giving you a lot of pressure, kind of like he's doing right now. He's really chasing down this mount, moving very technically. He's not like flying through positions and doing dangerous stuff. But then there also come times you'll see him training where he's just like, he's letting people work positions, letting himself get out of bad positions, or working on getting out of bad positions. That pendulum will swing with him throughout the round. Cooper putting a hurting on me now. Trying to get that stupid body lock off me. This is kind of an example of that too. What I was just talking about with Danny. What I'm doing with Cooper here. Notice, I mean, I am in the depths of a bad rear naked strangle. Fully locked body triangle. Even the grip is like very, very tight at this point. He's just about under my chin. He's got both hands at play, and it's like, all right, let me see if I could dig myself out of this. I wouldn't have been here if I just went 100%, summoned all the powers of the black belt and never got to this position before. So training with Coop, you know, it's like, all right, take me into deep water. Let me see if I could survive and get out of it. If I did this with Luke, it wouldn't work. So, so I practice with you know, lower belts and hone it so that eventually I can get out of Luke's garbage rear naked strangle. Meanwhile, Cooper gets to practice his finishing mechanics. And Danny working his way to an armbar. Good stuff. Now, John, keep in mind here, you know, like you said, Danny smokes you, whatever. Here's what's a good thing to do, and I think Ronnie was kind of talking about this in a way earlier. Like, yeah, concede position, right? It's like, he caught me. Something I do with you guys from time to time. I'll get this, right? Get an armbar, put you in a bad spot. You'll tap, you'll concede. And it's like, all right, stay here, work out of it. And John, you could do the same. You know, if you find yourself getting caught in these arm bars a lot, or triangles, or strangles, or whatever, you know, say to your opponent, like, all right, yep, tap, you got me. Can we start from here and let me work out of it, or help me work out of it? Use this time. You got to this position pretty organically. Use this time to practice the escape. Say, you got me, you win, let's restart. I want to work out of this. And like, that's where you could really start safely getting out of these positions without feeling like you're, you know, if you let go of your grip, your arm's going to snap or something, right? So work that into your training a bit. I think that's a really, really great way to develop your submission escape and your position escape skills. You don't just have to reset and start fresh every time. Pause is the best. It's not just you, man. It's everybody, especially every guy who's ever attempted this sport. You know, we come in and instinctively we just try to pull out of moves, right, or rip grips off of us. That's how it works. We all do that. But yeah, get caught and then stay there and work out of it. Look to upgrade the software or not damage the That's super cool. I like that saying. Never heard that. What's going over there? Going on over here with Ronnie and Devin. Looks like Ronnie's in kind of a overhook clamp position. She's got that leg over the top, really controlling Devin's shoulders while attacking the arm, I believe. And then look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Starting right in that position. Maybe talking through something. John, I would especially do that when you start feeling curious or comfortable with leg locks as well. That's probably the number one place I think white belts or like blue belts who come from another school and never trained legs, hell, or purple belts like that. That's a really, really great place to practice your pause training, as we'll call it for now. It's like, all right, this position is weird. It's scary. I don't want to hurt myself. Let's stop here. Tap, you win. All right, how do I get out of this? Or what way should I turn? What way should I not turn? I think Danny's phone still just wasn't working at this point, so we have a nice extra long round here. This is nice. Caleb helping out Emre, working with that close guard armbar we did. This is a fun little chain of submission attempts on Coop. So, looking for the back, but I can't get it. So from this modified mount, and we call it modified mount. This is where, you know, I'm looking across Coop's body. It's kind of like a cross body or like a cross ashi, but on the upper body. in a way. I got my foot planted and I got my other leg kind of wedged underneath him. Right here, I would think about taking the back, but I think he had like some weird grip on me I didn't like. Now I just think, all right, let me get the cross-face leg. He captures my leg, which is very good of him. So I slip it out, looking for a triangle threat here. He's not letting me have that. And now I have the far arm. I don't have the near arm anymore. So we switch to an omoplata. And I prevent him from rolling. I have just enough to keep him from rolling out of this. And then I just grab his hand and brute force a Kimura from holding him there. Joe Becker felt super strong. Serge did a good job. Hell yeah. Joe and I have a great roll later. It was really, really, really good to roll Joe again. You know, Rick, I need to do it over and over. Yeah, dude, for sure. Look, I don't know anybody who gets shit right in this sport on the first try. Like, it's all about the reps. So, if you want to call yourself a rep guy, that's fine. Everyone I know is. it's you know, there's no natural in this stuff. Some people might do it well the first time better than others, but it's never perfect. But yeah, John, I would, not to harp on it, but I would just think about what positions are you finding yourself getting in defensively? You know, what subs are you getting caught in? Think about that and then start there. And that's where you get to really focus on what positional escapes do I have to work on? What submission escapes do I have to work on? Focus on one or two, and it gets a lot easier. If you just try to like hammer out everything, you're not going to learn quickly. It's, you know, half-assing two things instead of whole-assing one thing. Here, though, you are rolling in the proper direction under the threat of Mitchell's heel hook, so that's very good to see. Here, Mitchell throws on a reap, throws on this outside heel hook, disrupting with your secondary leg. I like it. You're rolling in the correct way. Now it looks like you're even thinking about a counter. But you say, no, I'm just going to get safe. It looks like Mitchell's letting you work too. I'm happy to see. I hope Mitchell's being careful with his reaping. That's totally fine. I would rather you let it go if you're not sure if you got it than grip it and rip it. Not that I think you would. Mitchell going back to his old ways of wrapping two legs around his opponent's two legs. Try to talk him out of that. Just doesn't work, bruh. Yeah. If you got it, use it, I guess. I admittedly do everything in my powers to not let Mitchell secure a top pin. Nice. That was really good timing. Good bump. And more importantly, the follow-up. You see a lot of guys just stop right there sometimes. And it's like, nope, you bumped and you immediately moved. Kept that arm extended just long enough to keep him off so you could get back up to your knees. Mitchell made a quick reaction, try to get around, looking to jump into that rear mount the way Luke likes to demonstrate. He's really digging that foot in. See a hand block there from John. Mitch looking for the power half, but I don't know if he'll be able to get to the setup. Look at that. Good breaking down. I guess round timer goes. There we go. All right, Danny and Devin. John and Ron. Me and Sophie. Devin was on a good single leg there. A little bit of trouble from Danny. Yeah, okay. Danny had that weave through, so that's going to be tough to deal with after the takedown. Ankle pick on Sophie. Great response to my overtie. She drops her collar tie here. What's her hand do? She loses the wrist grip. Steps. Takes that cross wrist grip. Jumps to the ankle. Goes 2-on-1 on the ankle. So hitting a sweep single all the way behind to the double. Chasing it down. That's nice. Like every wrestler I've ever dealt with, she does a really good job keeping her hips pointed towards the ground, regardless of how I may try to sweep her. She has a knack for hip switching and keeping her base underneath her. What's Caleb gonna do here? Caleb was right behind Mitchell. I thought he was gonna do something cool. Right, he goes a little single, turtles up. Okay. Danny looking for the guillotine. Okay. Again, good example of Danny letting his partner work. Taking advantage of easy mistakes when they come. Not trying to force it. He's got Devin's arm in a bad spot there. That was a nice transition to an arm bar. Let's look at that again. It's Danny on this kind of sort of shoulder crunch. It's not a shoulder crunch as in the sweep, but it's this, underhook to an arm isolation, almost like a straight arm bar or Udigatami. Yeah. There he's putting a little bit of pressure on the elbow. But now he rotates around it, transitioning this into a standard, the typical arm bar Udigatami you'd see. Also, notice with Sophie, as she takes my back, when I notice that she doesn't have a good upper body connection now, all I think to do here is separate my back from her chest. I lean forward and I turn and get my back flat to the mat. So right there, now my back's hidden and it's going to be hard for her to recoup it. I've just created a whole bunch of space. I hid my back from her. So she's got to go on to either recapture or move to mount or an arm triangle or something. Mitchell on a cross Ashi here. Putting some nasty pressure on. No need to toe hold. Just working inside heel hook. He's got a reverse toe hold here. Which I guess is similar to the pressure you would impart with an inside heel hook, but Caleb wasn't gonna stick around to find out. So Sophie immediately getting to a side as I get to mount, looking to capture a leg and work that elbow escape. I think that's what I'm talking her through here. Where's Danny? I think Danny's on. Oh wait, I guess they move. Okay, yeah. A little too close to the wall. The injury bros working it out. Sophie does a good job here maintaining 3 points of contact, trying to keep me at bay. Like just enough forward pressure to eventually flatten out the guard, but per my comments earlier about not controlling hips, she takes advantage of that hip mobility before I could shut it down. Caleb and Mitchell really don't want the other person to walk anymore. So Mitchell tries to throw in a reap. Caleb goes on the toe hold. Looks like Mitchell maybe Brazil taps there, or for real taps. And Sophie onto the rear strangle. Nice. Yeah, working through, I think, a lot of the stuff we went over about a month ago through the back week. That was good. Really good. John looks like working the mechanics of a standing guard break, but from the knees, just pushing on the knees to try to separate the legs. What the hell are you two doing? Mitchell really wants a leg lock here. Bro, you're telling me. Counter straight ankle from Caleb. Danny, meanwhile, on the back, loses it, but settles into mount. Sophie coming up from that north-south strangle threat. Breaks me down with the power half, but I get my hips out before she can lock it up, lock up the hooks with her legs. I think... Oh, we go on to discuss turtle breakdowns, I believe, while the round ends. Got Emery over there on a cross side straight ankle against Nick with a same side straight ankle. Nick puts it on. Right, Caleb and Ronnie. Caleb facing the legs to get around the half guard. Always a fine strategy. Oh man, Nick just smothers me this round. Thoughtful Haragoshi attempt from me, but nah, I wasn't going to move him at all. All right, Sophie and Joe. Ronnie giving up the back. Sweep single attempt from me. Great counter from Nick. This is a great counter for sweep singles in general. So he pops his knee to the mat. He just has to like basically limp leg out of this, but then turn and my back is exposed. So he reaches over the back before, like kind of before really making the move. Here, all he needs is to get that leg free, and I'm pretty screwed if I don't scramble up out of this, which I'm going to need to start doing. I feel like I've been really taking those sweep singles for granted. Um, Nick just showed everybody how to handle them. So now I need to adjust. Dude, I love wrestling with Sophie. It's so much nicer than wrestling with any of you. It's technical and she's not heavy. I love it. Shut up, James. Don't take note of that. I swear to God, you're one of the people. I would say you, Andrew, Nick, hell, maybe even Caleb, that I don't want knowing how to deal with a sweep single. Now I'm gonna just have to get better at them and tighten it up. Be faster on the scramble. Oh, this sucked. Nick was he was putting a compression choke on me here from an odd angle. So he had this like guillotine grip from the side and then was really crunching my chin into my chest very effectively. I didn't want him to know, but he could probably tell by the snoring and grunting that this was not comfortable and was making me think about tapping. So I really just tried to focus on framing his hip and keeping space there. He goes to try it again, I think he tried it one more time. Yeah, like right here he settles in again. It's just like frame the hip. That was miserable. Absolutely miserable. Okay, you guys are relocating. Yeah, I see you putting on a little Von Flue pressure there, Yosef. Yeah, defending that attempt from Nick was pretty tiring. So I'm taking a beat here to try to get some strength to deal with him. Meanwhile, he throws on like almost like a Peruvian necktie attempt. So just roll through with it. But now I'm in the threat of an anaconda as we sink off to the side. So I wasn't really getting much time to rest. Nick was being a real jerk about it. Ooh, Caleb with the face crush. Yeah, tuck chin, Ronnie nose, and kind of sort of a trapped arm there. I think he had enough of the. Oh yeah, it was trapped. When did that happen? So he trapped on the same side with the top arm as opposed to the bottom arm, which again, I say it all the time when I teach that move. It's not wrong. It's just a little bit harder than using your bottom side arm. It works. You just have your own arm in the way now, and you've got to extract it. So if this is all you have to work with, then there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to now extract your arm. Can be easier if you're sweaty. Can be difficult if you're dry. But now he's got that arm trapped. And Ronnie is dead to rights. Ronnie's tough to tap with the rear naked. Caleb should be proud of himself. He's got the nice, very nice. He had that patented Nicholas Coyote yard. Ooh, was sitting for an armbar. Damn. Caleb is making moves. Ronnie stacks up and nicely gets out of that. That was good, Ronnie. I'm always afraid that that stack is going to be used against you. Honestly, like when you stack me, you're pretty good about putting me onto like my neck, which I just like let go of stuff when I'm there. And like other people may not care as much, but like you do a really good job stacking out of that stuff. I mean, Caleb was just, yeah, like he completely lost the angle on it. How do I deal with Nick here? Oh, he tries to turn me over with the power half. But he doesn't get the lower body control. But, lucky for him, the round ends. And I got no time left to make up for it. Danny and Emre. Danny immediately right into a cross Ashi. Gets out of it. I got me and Ben flowing. Big heavy snap from Caleb. Shot from Nick. A brave shot on a big man. Caleb goes for the guillotine though. Man, all right. Nick gets the 2 points for that. Got his head free. Good hand position for that for dealing with the shoulder crunch. You normally want to point your fingers along your opponent's shoulder line to prevent too much strain on your own elbow. But the straight arm doesn't come, and Caleb just uses it for a sweep. Sophie doing gymnastics over here on Joseph. Or vice versa. Okay, there we go. Nice. Follows through on that roll. Looking to control the legs. Joe sensing blood in the water with that single leg he has isolated now. There we go. I don't think I've gotten a roll with Emre in yet. Looks like Sophie didn't have... She didn't have legs locked up there. Okay, Joe kind of turtles up, yeah. She wasn't exactly on his back, so... Understandable, she rolls off the side. Caleb making his way towards a smother. And keep in mind, this is a good time to use a smother to get these frames out or vulnerable, right? Nick's doing a good thing here, posting in the armpit to try to prevent smother pressure. But that's an opportunity for Caleb to underhook, kind of like using his forearm, underhook that elbow, that exposed elbow, and try to wrench the arm upward. But he's a little too preoccupied with straightening out the right arm. Good reaction from Nick to get safe. But Caleb countering that reaction. Looks like relocation. Yeah, okay. Joe surfing his way to a mounted triangle just about. Let's go to the triangle. Sets back up. Bend onto that north-south triangle. That's a tight north-south. So it's hard to see if Sophie's utilizing the right elbow escape mechanics. Okay, cool. Yeah, I talked her through it earlier too, so this is good. It's more to the point of our earlier discussion about getting those reps in. Meanwhile, Caleb getting that head and arm very clean. Settling in on it. Very nice, Caleb. Savage. Cool. Sophie getting comfortable in that supine versus standing opponent position. Looked like she was trying to play around with getting into inside position. Make some headway there. Settling now into mount. Just got to work on strategies for getting arms exposed. Slow Upa from Joe there to take top position. Been working in another nasty arm triangle. I think he had one on me earlier in this round too. All right. Joe, my round with you. This is fun. In on a quick single. To a fun reversal. Immediately you attack my heel. And this was a very good attack. There was definitely some danger there. I'll go back here in a second. No. You stay and you watch. So getting out of that heel hook threat and then moving on to an arm in guillotine. So great level change. You haven't skipped a beat with your stand up and your quickness on it. So that snatch single was very solid. The only thing, I mean, man, I can't even really take anything away from you here. Like, I was just able to stay balanced long enough to get my right arm woven in. And now it wasn't even about setting up a Kimura. It was just about getting you to your back and reversing the takedown. So I kind of dive into it here so I can get your head lower than your hips. My upper body connection gets you rotating. And then I hit a quick hip switch there to try to settle in. That's all well and good on my end. Your defense of this was super solid. Like, immediately, arms in, knees in. You're looking to isolate a leg. Like, you have a plan here. You feel confident working a takedown reversal, or not even a takedown reversal, just like a counter to having lost the takedown right into the legs. So solid jiu-jitsu, in my opinion. Really good control of the knee. Like, you weren't letting me slip the knee out easily, and I needed to badly. You locked up here. I had the ability to roll. That's what saves me. And then once I got my foot on your elbow, I was like, I think I can get out of this. I think I can slip it. So I did, and then from there it was just pressure. Locked up the head, locked up the arm. I was honestly surprised I got this because head and arms are not my strong suit. But I was like, I think I have something here, so I just stuck with it. But that exchange, I think, from you and I both was there was some really good technique executed in there. Nice heavy snap. Making me really not want to tie up with you. The overtie snap just kind of led into cross-ashi. Yeah, I'm not mad about you stepping behind me. What would have helped the cause here is if you were able to pummel an underhook in. It's difficult. People get it against me though. Like it's happened somewhat frequently. Like I give up singles here sometimes, so it's possible. But I sat into cross ashi, pretty easy heel hook entrance. That was just an arm drag, I think. Yeah, so I love the arm drag from this position now. You have my wrist. There's something fancy going on here. So you have a crossed wrist grip on me. 2-on-1 here. You go collar tie, so you have crossed wrist on me. I pass that off. Like I get my cross hand free. So I now have my right hand gripping your left hand as I get that free. I've given up head position, but I don't really care because I'm setting up this arm drag. So I have your tricep gripped, passing up and over. I'm a little high on the back there, higher than I'd like to be. I'd rather go down to the waist. I really love the arm drag from there. Again, good leg pummeling. You haven't lost a beat there either. Just a big body surfing hop over to a guard pass. Little knee on neck action to a shin pin. So I think I take a little bit of time here to like retain my base from that. But I think I'm trying to get to the triangle, the shin pin to the shoulder drop triangle. I couldn't get to where I needed to be until you had made some moves. I don't even remember if I get there. I think I do. There was the entry, but I didn't drop to the shoulder the way I would like to. So here, I want to fall to my right shoulder, not to my back. This is terrible for that triangle entry. If I could have fallen to my shoulder, I would have been a lot better. But I retain it, try to lock it up. Briefly think about an arm bar, and really just screw up my triangle. I could feel that, like, I had a feeling that this was pretty tight. I just really needed to get a good knee pinch together. So that was just trusting it. Trusting the strangle as it came in. And coming up on the last 2 minutes here. Good wrestle up, Joe. Trying to hold you off with that whizzer. Oh, that's right. Your other hand was in there. I have to watch this again. Yeah, I have to watch this again. Because this is that thing we've been working on a bit. So, little Sasai, or more of a, what would that be? That's like Hizaguruma kind of thing. Not that any of you care. But I get around, I have the head and the arm in. Joe, your arm ends up across my body here. So the arm is in, but it's not hugging me. So this isn't like an arm in guillotine. This is more like a katagatame. So I've got your shoulder in your neck, my bicep on the other side of your neck. Don't want you rolling. So I switched to an anaconda instead and put that on. So I didn't get the seated katagatame that I wanted to get. But I got an anaconda out of it. And I think that's all the submissions. I think we have an active rest of the round. So another similar, just little body surf around the guard. worried about your sweep from there. So trying to break down the turtle, I end up in a cross body ride. Now, here's the thing, Joe. When I was here, I didn't care. Like, you had a grip on my right arm. You were very committed to, like, holding my right arm. Even when you brought it around your neck. And I just want you to recognize I didn't care at all because I had this. And it's like, all right, go ahead and, as long as you're tied in on this, I'm tied in on the crossbody ride. Oh, James, I know. You'll see me try it in a second. But Joe, as long as you maintain this connection, I'm like trying to get a weak arm lock. I got you. I don't blame you. I would just say from here, you got to start thinking about an escape plan. Because now, once I get my arm back, I'm like, all right, let me try to advance my position. And yeah, James, I was pretty pissed that this didn't work. Starting to think about the banana split. You saw me go to the legs. Here I'm pulling my knees up to try to bring that leg to me. I just like couldn't get what I needed, and then I couldn't get the leverage I needed. And then Joe does a great job slipping that foot in, breaking up my triangle. And it was just like, I mean, look at my face. Like even I'm in pain from like holding my own triangle so tightly against Joe's legs. The only thing he's been able to work out for the last 6 months. Yeah. And that's the round, baby. So yeah, that was cool. Good stuff. Fun last round. And Joe, so glad to roll with you again, man. Really makes me happy. Our rounds will not look like that all the time. They never did. So I'm sure you'll get your revenge soon enough. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed that. Appreciate you being here and going over the footage as always. If there was anything I missed, anything you want to go over in class, please bring it up to me. We'll go over it. Me, Mike, Luke, Bertram, we're all happy to go over any of the stuff you guys are working on, as always. If you're lurking, please hit that follow button. If you're liking, please hit that subscribe button. Subscribe at YouTube as well, where you guys can watch this again for all of eternity and get better and better. Thank you, man. It's good to have you back. And whatever. Let it be lightish for the rest of your training. Who gives a shit? As long as you're staying healthy and not getting injured. May 10th, that is the next competition everybody's talking about. Naga out in Hickory. So if you guys are interested, you need to be training. Want to see you guys back on the mats. Also, train with Luke. Help him get ready for his May 10th event, ADCC Atlanta. So he'll appreciate any rounds you give him. Other than that, we continue on the rest of this weekend next with Close Guard. I'll be teaching next Tuesday. I know that much. Other than that, it's regular schedule as far as I know. So hope to see you guys on the mats. Before you get there, go trim your nails and do your laundry, and don't be stinky. And we'll see you back there. Take it easy.